it's Jessii Vee, and in today's video, we're gonna be talking about your birthmark. As weird as that sounds. Also, I just have to point out, if you see tears dripping out of this eye only, for some reason, whenever I put makeup on, this eye excessively waters and like tears drip down. Maybe I'm like allergic to makeup or something, but I still wear it. So if you see like a puddle on this side of my face, just ignore it. I'm gonna be fine. I literally think I'm allergic to wearing makeup. All right, so I know today's video is kind of a strange topic, but I was blown away when I was doing research because there's so many creepy, dark, and weird facts about beauty marks and birthmarks and moles on your body. There's just like paranormal, supernatural, superstitious things that surround them. So if you have a birthmark or a beauty spot anywhere on your body, you're in for a treat. A birthmark is the term used to describe any of the large number of common skin marks that are present at birth or appear soon afterwards. They come in different colors, different sizes, and there are a lot of people in the world that actually don't even have a birthmark. My husband Ty does not have a birthmark. And regardless of what yours looks like, you're beautiful. I feel like everyone should embrace their bodies, no matter what marks you have, scars you have, your shape, size, color, we are all beautiful, and I want you guys to know that before we get into this video. This is all about superstitions that have to do with the marks on your body, but it in no way makes you less beautiful. I just want you to know that. And by the way, I do have a birthmark. It's on my back, so I always forget that I have it because I literally can't see it. It's about like this big. It's like this beige color. Yeah, it's behind me all the time. All right, so let's get into the myths and superstitions about birthmarks and beauty marks. Back in the 1600s, during the Salem witch trials, people would assume you were a witch if you had any mole or marking on your face. If people saw it, they would call it the devil's mark. And sometimes if they just assumed you were a witch but you didn't have a mole or a mark on your face, they would literally shave all the hair on your body until they could find one to prove you were a witch. Have you ever noticed in movies about witches, or if you've ever seen a witch Halloween costume, they usually have like a giant mole on their nose, on their chin, somewhere on their face? For some reason, people thought that moles represented witches, which is totally untrue. I have a mole right here on my forehead. Does that mean I'm a witch? Excuse me? Anne Boleyn, the second wife of King Henry VIII, was considered a witch because of the strawberry mark on her neck. She literally had a mark on her neck and people were like, oh, she's a witch. And it's just so ridiculous to me because literally everybody has marks on their faces, on their bodies. So I feel like all those people accusing others of being witches were just hypocrites, because I bet 9 times out of 10, they also had a mark somewhere. There is another myth that says if a pregnant woman experiences something very emotional during her pregnancy and touches a particular spot on her belly where the baby is, that's how a birthmark is formed. It's formed from an emotional touch. That's obviously just a myth, but I also find that to be super interesting. Some say that if you have a birthmark that resembles some sort of animal, or even a part of an animal like a claw, a feather, a paw print, they say that that could be an indicator of what your spirit animal is. So if your birthmark looks like it could be a fox, your spirit animal is a fox. If it looks like it could be an owl, your spirit animal is an owl. They also say that if your birthmark is in the shape of traditional good luck symbols like a horseshoe, a 4-leaf clover, apparently that's a very good sign, and that means your life is gonna have a ton of good luck. They also say a heart-shaped birthmark represents universal love, and a pyramid, diamond, circle, or star could mean that you have a very questioning mind or heart. Interesting. Now, I asked Ty to take a look at the birthmark on my back because I really wanted to see what my spirit animal was. And he looked at it and he was like,
Jess, it's a bean. It looks like a bean. It's in the shape of a bean. Your spirit animal is a bean.
So guys, I was kind of disappointed, but that's fine. So there are also a lot of superstitions that the birthmark on your body represents how you died in your past life. I feel like a lot of people have heard about this myth because I definitely had before I made this video. There is a very popular belief worldwide that birthmarks are a sign of how a person died in his or her past life before being reincarnated. So the position, shape, and color of your birthmark are often used to connect to what fatal wound you had. So for example, if you have a birthmark that's in the shape of a sword, people would say you lived a life of great bravery. So maybe you died defending someone you loved, maybe you died defending your country. Apparently you could just tell a lot from your past life if you look at your birthmark. Did I die because I spilled a can of hot beans on my back? There was this one story I read about a little boy who had these birthmarks all over his body that almost looked like burns from fire, and he kept having dreams about being in his bed while the house around him burned down. He would also frequently ask his parents why they wouldn't call him by his real name, and his parents were like, "What do you mean? Your name is Ryan, we named you Ryan." And he was like, "No, for some reason I feel like my name is Timothy." And he also knew so much about the early 1900s, so his parents just assumed that he must have been reincarnated from the early 1900s. Maybe he passed away in a fire. Creepy. And there are so many stories on the internet about kids who feel like they've lived a past life. Now you guys know me, I don't personally believe in reincarnation. I know a lot of people do, and that's fine. I just personally can't grasp that concept. According to Chinese culture, if you have a birthmark on your right foot, it means you're adventurous. And they say if you have a birthmark on your left foot, it means you're highly intelligent. It also says if you have a birthmark on your tummy, you are incredibly greedy. And in some European countries, it's very lucky to touch someone's birthmark. So especially if you don't have a birthmark yourself, you go out and find somebody and touch their birthmark, and then you're in for good luck. Does anybody want to touch the bean on my back? Let's talk about some famous moles and birthmarks, which sounds so weird, but there are some people that have lived that have been praised for the marks on their body. The first person that came to mind to me when I was doing research was Marilyn Monroe. One of the modern era's greatest icons was known for her beauty mark. Marilyn Monroe's cheek mole became so famous that there's even a type of skin piercing named after her that imitates it. There have even been people who have gotten a mole tattooed on their face where Marilyn had hers, just so that they could look like she did. Alright, for the next fact, we are going way back in history once again. In the 17th and 18th centuries, smallpox was running rampant in Europe. Several kings and queens even succumbed to this disease, and it was thought that about 400,000 people died from smallpox every year. And if someone did recover from it, they would have scars all over their body. So they decided to hide the scars on their face with a cleverly placed beauty mark. They would cut out these circular patches made out of silk and would just put them on their face to cover up any scars or marks. And it definitely didn't look realistic. Like, imagine if I cut out a piece of like blanket and put it on my face and I was like, "Guys, look at my beauty mark." You would know it was fake. So after a while, they started to use black ink to make fake beauty marks, and that looked a little bit more realistic. But then in the late 1800s, they used to call beauty marks a mark of disgrace. So if you had a beauty mark on your face, they would be like, "Whoa, you disgraced me." So they came out with a bunch of skin whitening products to get rid of any of those markings on your face. Their whitening recipes promised to take away freckles and moles that were abundant, which is obviously ridiculous to me. You should never change the way you look, but back then they thought it was necessary. The thing is, a lot of these whitening recipes were very toxic, and they didn't know that back then because they didn't have the technology to test like what was poisonous and what wasn't. The makeup was basically poison and was eating away at people's skin. So it came to a point where if people didn't wear this makeup, it would show all the harm that it did to their face, so they would have to constantly put it on, and it was like a horrible cycle. If only they had just accepted moles for what they were, they wouldn't have all these problems. But in the past 100 years, they've become a beauty statement. And I think Marilyn Monroe was probably one of the biggest reasons why they became so widely accepted again. And I mean, it's just so normal to have beauty marks, moles, birthmarks. The average person is said to have 10 to 40 moles by the time they're in adulthood. So yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to talk about the history and the myths and superstitions about little marks on our bodies. And once again, these are old, silly things that people used to believe. And I just want you to know, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful the way you are, no matter what marks, scars, birthmarks you have on your body, you're always accepted by me. You guys know I just like to go into the history and weird things about the world. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want me to do more weird things about history, give this video a thumbs up and let me know. But I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!